Lizardmen are another one of those factions that I have been neglecting a bit in Immortal Empires, but today I'm taking them against my patron, the Ever Chicken. The switch to percentage-based healing in Total War Warhammer 3 should help the Lizardmen quite a bit, in that their dinos can be healed that much more efficiently. So today I've got Krokgar, we're backing him up with a Rev Crystal, we've got a Skink Oracle as well, so two different healing sources. Hopefully between the two of them we can do okay. Some Razordon hunting packs already taking significant damage. A single unit of Horned Ones. We've got 5 Skink cohorts backed up by 3 Red Crests, including of course the cohort of Sotek. My patron here, Everchicken, coming in with Arc and the Black on the Chariot. For anti-infantry, he's also got Spear Leech and the Summon, of course, Fate of Unit as well. Sphinx of Usek, 2 Sepulchral Stalkers, including the Regiment of Renown. Same for Ushabti Great Bows, 3 for Skeleton Spears. Single Skeleton Archer in the center, and the Kepler Guard as well. So let's get things rolling. Krokgar going to be pretty aggressive here. I feel fairly safe with him, considering that I have healing, Sacred Spawning of Zodal as well, giving him some physical resistance and also now restores vigor. Quite nice, but came in to do some initial early skirmishing with these Razordons. So far they haven't been doing too much, but it looks like the Skink Oracle just dropped one of those Ushabti Great Bows there. Skink Oracle, of course, with his anti-large AP ranged attack of the Troglodon, going to be quite strong against the Tomb King's constructs. And, of course, is a decent enough melee monster, not crazy good, against the Sphinx of Usek, the elite anti-large AP of the Tomb Kings. That's definitely going to be tough. Probably have to go 2v1 with Krokgar and Skink Oracle. Right now, Rev Crystal is just going into Tactical Reserve, keeping it well out of range of these Ushabti Great Bows until we can get the Horned Ones deployed. Meanwhile, in the center, Kepler Guard kind of gets a little bit overextended. Krokgar comes to attack them directly. They also get engaged by these Red Crests here. The Red Crests are going to suffer pretty badly against the Kepler Guard. There's no question about that. And you can see the regular Skinks there in the center quickly getting terrified away by big, scary Tomb Kings. The Sepulchral Stalkers trying to get into a position to shoot at the Oracle and at Krokgar both. So we're going to pop a little Earthblood there to top them both up a little bit and come fight in melee. Of course, Sepulchral Stalkers are anti-large AP. They've got charge defense, but their stats are really not all that spectacular. I mean, 30 defense, 22 attack is fairly low. Their bonus versus large also is 18, which is okay, but still, that's only, what, 40 effective attack against, I guess, 40 defensive Krokgar. They will be able to get some hits, but the Horned Ones get deployed here a little bit late, a little bit of a micro slip by me, but still, they're going to absolutely devour these Ushabti Great Bows. And my opponent here, because he went with a relatively elite build, doesn't really have protection units to allocate in order to defend these Ushabti Great Bows. Like, his best thing would be to just maybe try and run away. The Sepulchral Stalkers ended up being used a little bit in this frontline engagement, helping out against Krokgar and various targets. I believe the Sphinx of Usek came and tried to stop the Horned Ones, but given that it's a single entity, it can't really stop a full unit of cavalry like this, so they get through. Eventually, the Sepulchral Stalkers do counterattack in a little bit, but the cohort of Sotek hot on their heels. I think with poison, the Red Crests will actually keep up with Ushabti, so likewise the Sepulchral Stalkers also only 43 speed. Yeah, 46 speed on the cohort of Sotek there, so they'll be able to keep up with all these units, poison them, keep them from getting away. Unfortunately, in the front line, though, the Sphinx of Usek is just so scary. It is mauling Krokgar, and the Oracle, even 2v1, it's a little bit of a rough engagement, so we're going to continue to fight it out. Red Crest duking it out with the Kepler Guard. They're getting their Realm Souls and their regeneration effect to get quite a bit of passive healing. Definitely going to be a tough unit to crack there, and this little box will be quite scary, even as I start to mop up on other parts of the battlefield. Some of the Ushabti come in here to try and finish off those Horned Ones. The Skeleton Archer also relatively unopposed at this point, has just been firing the entire time and racked up some really good value already, actually, shooting at various high-value targets. I'm defeating the overextension, trying to get my Razordons in a position to contribute. Right now, they really haven't done anything. A little bit of Spirit Leech there on Krokgar, and that single entity fight's definitely been very rough. I've managed to stabilize Krokgar, despite him being quite low for some time. And he, yeah, is just going to continue to try and fight here. Some Cold-Blooded to keep the Skink Oracle's leadership up. And Sacred Spawning won't really help at all. I actually am forgetting that, like, a lot of these Tomb Kings have magical attacks. The Sphinx of Usek, Kepler Guard both have magical attacks. The Yeah, the Sepulchral Stalkers, which are no longer here, they also have magical attacks, so that physical resistance from Sacred Spawning really not doing much for me, but even still, the Bastillodon comes to fight in that single entity battle as well, kind of 3v1. The Razordons have a little bit of line of sight issues. They're trying to get a bead on Ark in the Black to start shooting him, but not really able to get an effective fire on him, especially given his speed. And Everchicken here doing a good job kind of dodging shots, not really getting overexposed there. Going to continue to try and heal, hits all three of these single entities, and I think maybe even caught that Skink cohort as well. Krokar and the Skink Oracle just barely holding their leadership together at this point, but that focus fire from the one Skeleton Archer is enough, along with the Spirit Leech, probably to break their leadership, but let's see. Tomb Kings, if they are able to break, won't be able to chase them off, at the very least, so there's some consolation for me, but Arcan on his Chariot is actually good enough anti-infantry damage to just kill all of the remaining Skinks. So the infantry fight basically is a wash. The best I can hope for at this point is just to kill off all his spears so that he doesn't have any support units left. But my own single entities are suffering pretty badly. Krokar gets routed here. The Skink Oracle also gets routed. Ark in the Black actually looks like he's fast enough. Yeah, 84 speed. I guess he could chase Krokar off here, which arguably he probably should. He's going to switch directions, come back, try and bail out those Skeleton Archers, but in hindsight, I really think he should have stayed on Krokar, because Krokar has one special ability that I haven't used at all yet, which is Hand of the Gods, does magical fire damage. Of course, all Tomb King's lords have an innate weakness to fire damage, except for Kotep, but definitely includes Arkan the Black. The Hand of the Gods going to come in here and just blast him for a good percentage of his HP, and that has decisively tilted things in my favor, although the Sphinx of Usek is just straight up beating the Bastillodon there. The Kepler Guard also just grinding through any infantry that I throw at them. So if I hadn't been able to finish off Arkan here, if he actually chased off Krokar, I mean, it's possible the Skink Oracle rallies, right, and goes and bails out Krokar from Arkan, but it's definitely tough when Arkan could have thrown a Spirit Leech at the Oracle and got rid of both of them, perhaps. But instead, Krokar is able to come back and get a decisive Hand of the Gods there. Nice over-the-shoulder shot from the Skink Oracle, as well as Krokar gets some hits. We're going to toss another Earthblood there as well, just to keep Krokar topped up. Skink Oracle manages to snipe Arkan, and that's going to very quickly lead to army losses. The Kepler Guard and the Sphinx of Usek drop, and the summoned Skeleton Warriors also go down. So it ends up being super, super close at the end of the day. Yeah, a little bit of differences could have changed it in either direction, but definitely the Horned Ones were an MVP unit for me, getting loose in the back line, and Everchicken here not having enough to protect his Ushabti Greatbows. They ended up not paying out that much value, and obviously, hindsight being 2020, you could just cut the one regular Ushabti Greatbow. I'd probably keep Chosen of the Gods just in case. Great against a massive line of Saurus, and then in their place, maybe just take some Tomb Guard, maybe Tomb Guard halberds, maybe some light cavalry, some kind of units to try and help protect and contest, or at the very least block the Horned Ones. Generally, Lizardmen are going to take armor-piercing cavalry here, and I mean, I only had the one Horned One, but I've definitely seen builds with, 3 to 4 Cold Ones, maybe with a couple of Feral Cold Ones as well, Cold One Riders, that is. And, I mean, they're good enough armor-piercing cavalry, they can take out Ushabti Greatbows, so you got to be careful using them, although they are very good in this particular matchup. Lizardmen have some good counter tools, so kind of bearing that in mind, again, I'd probably keep Chosen the Gods. The rest of this build I actually do quite like. Kepler Guard are fantastic here. Sphinx of Usek carried 3,000 plus value, but I might just, cut the one regular Ushabti Greatbow and then take some Tomb Guard. I mean, the regular Skeleton Archers also did very well. Granted, I didn't really allocate resources until the very end when the Razordons went to engage them in melee. Krokar, though, also carries 3,000 damage value there, dumped a lot of healing into him. But, I mean, the Oracle not only is healing, but also dishing out some serious damage as well himself. Rev Crystal, not so much, more there just purely for the healing, but Cohort of Sotek also fantastic in this matchup. They're another counter unit to Ushabti. Like I said, once Ushabti get poisoned, they're not able to actually get away from the Red Crest, which is pretty hilarious. Razordon's a little bit of a mixed bag there. Skinks, I mean, 104, 122 kills, both almost paying for themselves. Really can't argue with that too much. Rest of the Tomb King's build here, I mean, Skeleton Spears are what they are. They're going to do okay if they get the right fight. Generally very cost-effective. Sepulchral Stalkers also didn't quite get enough value. I do think another thing you could do, thinking about cutting these Ushabti Greatbows, is take a Necrotect, maybe try and get some healing either on the Sepulchral Stalkers or on the Sphinx of Usek, since you can expect the Lizardmen to potentially try and heal a little bit in this matchup, be able to sustain through some of that damage on your big expensive pieces. Might be worth it. Not to mention, I mean, the Necrotech just generally has a lot of really nice abilities, even outside of buffing constructs. So if we take a look here and just quickly kind of finalize things, Tomb Kings, yeah, so the Necrotect, he's got quite a bit going for him. Of course, there's the Restore, everyone knows, heals constructs. There's the AoE passives, which, I mean, against Lizardmen, it might be nice to have some extra armor and missile resistance, not super pertinent. I mean, the Vambraces of the Sun is the one you really want, if anything, because that is blinded, just bound on the Necrotech's attacks. Basically, anything the Necrotech hits in melee will get minus 24 melee attack defense debuff. The accuracy is also kind of there, but most importantly, you get that debuff, which is a pretty potent. I mean, that's like a enfeebling foe, and potentially, like, if he's on the chariot, perhaps, you could hit an entire line of stuff, right? Like, ride down a line of skinks, just debuff all of them, so they'll lose to even skeletons. Maybe charge in, hit Grokgar with it real quick so that he gets debuffed, and then run away through your own infantry, you know, given that he's on the chariot. And the cost is pretty close to the same as just a regular Ushabti Great Bow, so you could just cut them 1-to-1. He also, I mean, he's not really going to help much with the horned ones, but in kind of hindsight there as well from Arcan, since he did have Fate of Yuna, that also would have been a good way to just one-shot the horned ones. Like, I think it would literally one-shot the horned ones. So a little bit of a learning curve there for sure, but definitely Tomb Kings seem very strong, and a nice showing from Everchicken, just slightly short where he needed to be to actually take me down, which is pretty impressive, all things considered. On the flip side for Lizardmen, healing seems strong. I definitely need to play around with them more and see, but Rev Crystal is definitely a priority target anytime you see it on the field if there's big dinos to heal. And the bigger the dino, the bigger HP pool. Like, I haven't really tried a healing Saurian build since Warhammer 3 released, since Immortal Empires came out. But 15,000 HP, like a percentage-based heal, even from like Mazda Mundi, or really any percentage-based heal, could be insanely strong there. So keep your eye on this space, perhaps for this in the future. No guarantees. I don't have a replay yet, but I definitely want to try and get one. So subscribe for that. Be sure to hit that bell notification button so you don't miss it. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.